And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Long Dark on Interloper. Since last time, I've decided that we're going to go check out how a mechanic specifically works. So we're in Coastal Highway. I believe we're in Mithrop's Island cabin. I'm going to go over and check. The mechanic I want to check out today is there's some questions on the Reddit on how does can opening working specifically. Which is basically by default, it used to be that you had a mechanic where once you started open a can, it would ask you which of 4 different ways you wanted to open it. And obviously it'd be highlighting which options were plausible, but wouldn't necessarily force you into it. Now, it forces you into a particular choice. It doesn't give you the choice, it just makes you do the particular choice. I know at game start, by default, the rules are that if you have a can opener, you open it with a can opener. If you have a knife, or if you don't have a can opener, you have a knife, it will be use the knife. If you have an axe but don't have a knife or a can opener, it will use the axe. And failing all of that, it will fall back to smashing it open. I think that will give you a warning if you're smashing it open as well. But that's the question is, one of the people on the Reddit was also having when they were opening cans while having the knife, they were getting the noise for smashing it open. So one of the mechanics that I'm not sure is the case is, once you get cooking 3, you don't take a food penalty for smashing it open. So I don't know if it will skip over the knife and axe, smash it open, if you have cooking 3+. So in my run here, we're far enough along that we have cooking 5. So there's actually an argument that you should simply smash open all the cans. It probably makes sense to still use the can opener. If you're carrying a can opener, right? Use the can opener. Right, but what we're going to go check today is to see, because I have cooking 5, how cans open, if I have the cans. And then once that's done, we're going to go back to our fishing trip. We've got 60 kilograms of fish to make. But taking this detour to go check up on this can stuff is probably a good way to pass the time while we're waiting for the birch bark to cure. So we can do our travois to make the fish moving along easier. So the first place I'm going to check, because to really from the test on the ringer, I think I need 3 to 4 cans. I might only need 2, because if it is a situation where it goes can opener to smash cooking 5, then we only need 2 cans. But might need more than 2. I don't know how many cans we have in the garage. We might have to go out to Mystery Lake. To get enough cans. And I know I've got enough in Mystery Lake, so we might end up just going up there instead of trying to do it here. And the answer to how many cans I have here is apparently 0. So yeah, we're also waiting for the maple sapling cure. So this is going to be how we pass the time to get that maple sapling cured. Yeah, so I've got no cans here. So we've got to go, to run that test, I need to go out to Mystery Lake. So we're going to take a trip out to Mystery Lake. We are going to warm up before we do that. I'm going to do a little bit of inventory triage while we're here. I say, and then realize we probably don't need to do an inventory triage. Nothing needs maintenance. Coming up on do maintenance on the brownhead cloaks, I suppose. And if I had scrap metal, I mean, we got 1 fish scrap metal. We need 2 pieces of scrap metal. Should probably repair the crampons. But... okay, so let's pass the time and warm up, and then we'll make the trip out to Mountain Town. Okay, the wind state has improved. So yeah, with this level of wind state, we can probably make it most of the way out to Mountain Town fairly quickly. We're going to come down the road. One thing I'm going to grab as we're going is probably more fuel. Because yeah, the fishing trip we're going to basically be burning lots of stuff. We can take the river path up to Mystery Lake. So we're going to basically follow the road here. I can take slight detours off to both sides as we go along, just to grab sticks that sometimes spawn in the trees off the sides. And then we're going to follow the river up. We've got a couple piles of meat that we can stop by to feed ourselves along the way. But I might actually be tempted not to feed the characters so that we have... Because obviously for the experiment to open the cans, need the character hungry enough to open the cans. So we don't want to be fully fed. At the same time, I don't necessarily want to be starving, because when we get there, we're going to open well, we're going to open 2 cans, because I'm going to demonstrate that if you got the can opener, it defaults to the can opener. And then we're going to test until we get it to smash open the can. Which might be the second one. We've got cooking 5, so it might jump straight to smashing the can open after dropping the can opener. Hell, I might be wrong, and I might just jump straight to just smash the can opener, because I've got cooking 5, and I might not be correct on that. I know how the mechanic works right at the beginning of the game. This far into the game, I stopped paying attention to it, so I might be wrong. Because at this point, as long as it's using the can opener I have, or smashing it open, it's not a rare on the important tools, which is the knife and the axe. And even if it was a wear on the knife and the axe, it wouldn't be a real issue. Don't wear it out that quickly. But that's the test, and that's the plan for our destination walking right now. Back to walking on the road. It's a little faster walking on the road in good weather than it is off-roading like that. But you can kind of see as we transition back and forth from the snow to the hard tarmac that we very slightly change speeds. I believe your speed walking in snow is like based on the game's perception of how deep the snow is. So the hard tarmac has no snow, so you walk full speed. Thought I might hit the bear there. There's one bear still alive on this map. Could have just exited his territory, so I might have just heard him off the side there. Whereas when you're on the snow, I think the weather condition affects how quickly you walk. Well, and your carrying capacity. The heavier you are, the slower you walk. I'm not over our carrying capacity yet, so we're still walking full speed on the road. Just walk a little bit slower on the snow. And most of the time we're walking in the snow, so you don't really notice the speed difference. Unless you want a very long stretch of tarmac to walk along. And I suppose Coastal Highway is one of the few places where you do get a very long section of tarmac to walk along. Yeah, this game has a lot of good views, but every once in a while, especially in the harder difficulties, you get weather like this where it's good in-game traveling weather. Interloper, this is good weather. But the visibility isn't super great, so you don't get to enjoy the views in the game. Don't get to enjoy the scenery as much. Any sticks in this bit? There's one. Okay, we're about to hit the point where we're going to stop being on the road. Because we're coming up on the fishing village.
Can't feel my feet.
I may take the detour up to where our bear carcass is. Eat a little bit of bear meat. Well, I suppose that's not much of a detour, because we'd be going up that way either way. It's just coming down to how sharp do we take the corner cut. Yeah, it should be up here. Oh, there's a wolf. Can I get by the wolf without the wolf noticing? Maybe. Yeah, I think I got by the wolf without the wolf noticing. So you notice I was trying to pay attention, like straight look at the wolf. The wolves are a little bit more prone to changing which direction they're looking when you're not looking at them. And specifically, they'll change direction a lot when you flick back and forth, looking at them, not looking at them a lot. So if you're traveling around wolves like that, that's just an important thing to be aware of. Is if you want to know where the wolf is, don't look away from the wolf if you can. So around here where the bear was killed. It's just over the dell here. Just over the dell here. A little bit cold, so I might take a moment. We'll cook a little bit of the bear meat.
So,
While we wolf. Okay, so. There we go. So where did I leave this bear carcass? Was it just over the edge here? I think this is where I shot it. Might not be where it died. Oh, this is not where it died. It's been a couple days since I killed the bear, so I'm not perfectly memorized where it was. Once we get close enough, it'll be easy to walk the rest of the way to the... Oh, there it is. As I said, once we get close enough, it'll be easy to figure out where it is, because we have a giant pile of meat next to the farm. Oh, I gotta remember, I gotta start the fire with a stick, then you can add the coal. It should be warm enough that a single piece of coal should get it way warm enough. It may be warm enough that I can just stick sticks in it, to be fair. Yeah, we can get away with just a bunch of sticks. If anything, I've probably put too many sticks in the fire, but it'll be fine. Because this is good traveling weather, so we'd probably want to keep traveling in it before the weather turns bad. Oh, it got colder. Interesting. Well, I suppose the fog went away. It's often warmer with the fog than without the fog in this game sometimes. So all the way warmed up. We left another 5 kilograms cooked meat here, which is always good to have. Still a little bit worried about water. I might have made water instead of that third round of the meat. And we got a little fire, so we'll take the fire with us, because that'll just help us protect us from wolves. And if we need to warm up, we can always light from the lit torch. Okay, so we're probably going to start ending up walking a little bit slower soon, because we're going to start running low on fatigue. But I should have enough fatigue that while we'll be walking slow, we can probably get all the way to the camp office, which is where I know we've got a pile of cans. It's where I lifted pile of cans behind. At least I think I left a pile of cans behind. Should be a bunch of ruined beaches there. So what we'll probably do when we get there... Well, we'll see what the fatigue state is when we get there and the calorie state. Again, my plan is... in theory, we could get away with testing with as few as 2 cans. Depends upon how the test goes. But it might take a... Well, my plan is basically test until we smash. Is the plan. That's going to take a minimum of 2, because I think, well, should take a minimum of 2. It might not take a minimum of 2. It might not actually smash, because we have cooking 5. Or it might smash because we have cooking 5 immediately. But I'm pretty sure it uses the can opener if you have a can opener. And I do have a can opener. I'll show it again when we're about to do the test. Because what I'm planning on doing also is I'll snip out the test as a YouTube short, a Twitch clip. Both to share, to answer the guy's question on Reddit, and just to have as a clip for people that are interested. So we'll go over the basically the test conditions and how we're going to do the test, so that people who are only seeing that short can understand the test, and so that it's easier to edit out. But right now I'm carrying basically I usually carry the can opener. So we got a can opener, we got interlopers, knife, and axe. We got cooking 5. Okay, so before we go over the trestle, we probably want to do the standard torch swap. If we're going to bring the torch along, because we don't want to really change... Well, I don't usually like changing torches in the middle of the trestle. Most of the trestle isn't that bad from a torch change standpoint. It's not like going to fold in the middle of the trestle or anything, like you can see there was a torch there. But it is very easy to just accidentally chuck it off the end of the bridge. Be like, whoops, not lighting that torch. And this is the place where if you fall off, it is instant death, so don't go chasing after a torch. It isn't worth your life. We're losing temperature a little bit faster. It looks like the weather has worsened faster than I would have hoped. Though it hasn't worsened too bad, so we might be able to just finish getting through the whole valley before we need to stop to warm up. And then from a fatigue standpoint, once we warm up next time, that'll probably be the last time we warm up for the day. And we'll push all the way through to the camp office. Because, yeah, we may take some condition damage going from the next warm spot to camp office, but I suspect we'll get most of the condition loss back sleeping.
Can't feel my hands.
Yeah, we've chilled out a little bit faster than I wanted to. So we're going to detour. We're going to go to the cave over here. I was hoping to get to the next cave, but we'll detour to the cave over here.
I'll die if I don't warm up soon.
I'm surprised we're still within carrying capacity. I must be just running that wide of a load. Yeah, and I also suppose the carrying capacity drop-off is exponential from fatigue, so it sneaks up on you. Because you lose, going from 50% fatigue to 0, you lose half of your base carrying capacity, so a full 15.
It's getting dark out here. Time to look for shelter.
He says that, but we're really here just to warm up, and then we'll probably be able to push all the way through to camp office. A little low in water, so I'm going to make a little bit of water here while we're here. You know, I've warmed up enough. We're going to go. Grab a torch out of the fire. And you can see, yeah, the fatigue is now officially catching up with us. Combination of the water generated there and the weight of the torches put us over our carrying capacity. So we're going to start walking a little bit slower. Still don't think that's enough to really stop us from getting where we're going before we sleep. Really good. Really going up and over that a little bit. It's a little bit of shortcut to do that. Cross over the tree in the ravine area. Beginning the run, I was calling this area the canyon. Because, you know, it's type of terrain that I would refer to as a canyon IRL, but the game calls it ravine. And I guess the weather's improved because we're only one echelon cold with the torch out. Come through an area that it's good for birch bark. So I'm going to be rotating the camera quite a bit, so hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. Looking for birch bark as we pass through. And again, this is an area where if you're desperate for birch bark or just want to make the game a little bit easier, the foliage here that you don't interact with is the density of it is set by a graphical setting, so you can just turn that graphical setting down to make it easier to find things in the foliage. This is one of the notable places where it makes a real big difference. So you can basically turn all this grass, just turn it off if you're desperate to see things in the grass. Most useful when you're hunting for like a lost arrow. Maybe less so when it comes to the birch bark, because the birch bark's pretty easy to stick out, though I haven't seen any coming through here, which is unusual. Usually the area hasn't been touched recently. There's something like between 2 to 4 pieces here. Oh, we'll check again in the next part as we come the other way. We've got a destination to go to, and if I procrastinate too long, we'll get cold.
I think I need to lay down. We're about to walk past some venison, so if I think we're hungry... Well, normally if I was hungry, I'd just pick up some of the venison and the meat piles we're going to walk past. I think we're just going to push through straight to the camp office. Might be a little bit of calories low when we get there, but that'll be fine. I can eat a cattail or something. But yeah, normally we're about to walk past one of the meat piles. I think it's just about here. I can see it right here. Normally I'd probably take the detour. Well, we're taking the detour because it's basically the path we're going along. But normally I would stop and eat one of these pieces of meat at this point. Because I want calories available to test the can opening mechanics, I'm going to let the character be a little bit hungry. I'm just going to try to avoid losing well fed, not staying fully fed. Okay, wolf on the left. Hasn't noticed us yet because of the fog and the snow. Hey, I'm so cold.
I got a lit torch, so we're going to follow the rail path. It's a little bit faster than the way I normally take, which is following the ridge line. But you got to run into holes like that. That's why I often take the ridge line path. But we got a torch lit, so we'll take the fast path today. Torch is basically our fast path, or fast pass for taking the speed lane. And we're taking condition damage here. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. We'll get most of the condition back that we're going to lose. Walking cold like this when we take the 10-hour long snooze. When we get to the camp office. Oop. Multi-stack and stick. So next turnout should be the camp office. Again, I'm feeling the slow down from the fatigue dropping our carrying capacity here. We weren't anywhere near our weight limit, so we're walking faster than I normally would be if I was full on stuff. But we're still walking slower than I would. We could be walking. Okay, here we are. Looking at the time on the episode, I think we'll probably part break in before we run the test. Yeah, this is what we came here for. Cans. 4 ruined cans. I think is all I need to run the test. Yeah, but we'll go ahead and give the character a nice rest before. And apparently I had a cured maple sapling here. We'll take the cured maple sapling with us. So when we get back to the garage, we can make our travois one way or the other. Okay, how many calories does my character currently have in his belly? A little close. To get to the early morning feel, we're gonna eat a cat tail before we sleep. And then we're gonna give him a nice 10-hour snooze, and we'll do the test at the beginning of the next part. Okay, that's the rest. Okay, so I hope everyone has been enjoying. If you're watching YouTube, the next part will be up tomorrow. And presumably the short that will go with it will be up tomorrow as well. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break where we sip a little bit of tea, or I sip a little bit of tea, and then we'll get right back to recording, as well as running that short test with the cans. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.